Hey there, it's Brian Powers over at Remax First. Want to talk to you for a few minutes about the real estate market and what I'm expecting to see going forward. Now that the election is over, I get it that the results are still out there being argued about and fought over, but the actual election, the voting is done. We're moving beyond that. And I just kind of want to talk to you for a few minutes about what we're expecting to see going forward with the real estate market, because I had a lot of conversations with people in the months leading into the election, people who are planning to buy a home or sell a home, but wanted to put that decision off to see how the election shaked out before they made that decision. And it's interesting because, obviously we're a very divided country politically. Statistically, it's kind of right down the middle, 50-50 in terms of people on one side or the other. And that certainly was brought out in the conversations I was having leading into the election. I would have discussions with people looking to buy or sell a home, and they would say, I want to wait until after the election because if Donald Trump wins re-election, everything's going to go down the toilet. And I literally had just as many conversations with people who said, I want to buy or sell a home, but I want to wait until after the election because if Joe Biden wins, everything's going to go down the toilet. So I personally don't believe either one of those statements are true. I'm not here for your politics, and I'm not interested in that. But I am here to talk to you about what I'm seeing in the housing market going forward, and everything that I'm seeing in the actual data leads me to believe that the housing market is going to remain very, very strong for the remainder of this year and through 2021. So short term, we're going to be fine. The market's going to keep going forward and remain in a strong spot. Obviously, long term, totally different story depending on who actually wins the election, what their economic policies are, how the overall economy does. Long term, obviously, we can't talk about that right now. But short term, everything I expect from the data, I don't get into the emotion or the hyperbole. I look at actual data, and the data tells me the housing market is going to remain very, very strong in the short term. So there's two key elements to the housing market over the past few years that have kept it in a good place: strong buyer demand and interest rates. So let's break those down real quick. Buyer demand pre-pandemic, pre-COVID-19 was incredibly, incredibly strong. And that was driving the housing market because so many people were out there who wanted to buy a home. We had all kinds of first-time home buyers. We had move-up buyers, who are those people who are selling their first home and moving up into a bigger home. We had the empty nesters who were downsizing, who no longer needed those big homes. Everybody was out there in all categories driving the housing demand. That was pre-COVID-19. Obviously, we're not post-COVID-19 yet, but we're figuring out ways to coexist with it right now. And once the real estate market opened back up in May, all those same buyers that were there before everything got locked down here in Michigan came back, and in bigger numbers, and drove demand even higher. On top of that, COVID-19 itself has created an entirely new category of home buyers, because so many people have come to realize through this pandemic that the space they have is no longer adequate for their needs. When you've got one or two spouses working from home all the time, children being home from school. And quite frankly, we are just spending more time at home because of the state of the world right now. We are spending more time at home than we typically have. And that's making a lot of people realize that they thought they had enough space, or they thought they had a floor plan that worked for them, and it no longer does. I mean, my wife and I joke around all the time that we've had more family dinners, the four of us at the table together, in the last 6 months than we have in the last 6 years. That's just because all the chaos of life that is typically there, travel, sports, school functions, all this other stuff that you're running back and forth to, a lot of that isn't there anymore because of kind of the new way that we have to live during this pandemic. So we're seeing buyers who probably wouldn't have thought about moving. Now they're in the market as well because they need more space. They need a different floor plan. So buyer demand is through the roof. Don't see that changing anytime soon, and therefore I don't see the market slowing down anytime soon. And then we have interest rates. We've talked about it a million times in these videos. Historically low interest rates. I keep saying it. Go do a Google search. Look at a 30, 40-year trend chart of mortgage interest rates and get an appreciation for the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity you have to get these low interest rates. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. if Donald Trump gets reelected, he's been fighting with the Fed for the last 4 years to keep interest rates low. He wants interest rates low. I don't see him changing on that stance. And if Joe Biden wins, I don't see a newly elected president stepping into the office and saying, hey, everybody, appreciate all the votes, all those really low interest rates that you've been enjoying the last 4 years. I'm gonna ratchet those up and make you pay more, right? And that's not going to happen. So I don't see interest rates going up anytime soon. So when you take the fact that buyer demand is actually stronger now than it has been, and interest rates are going to remain really, really low, we've got no reason to believe that the housing market is going to slow down anytime soon. Hope that helps. Hope you're doing well. I know there's a lot of anxiety and fear out there. My personal viewpoint is to focus on what you can control. I made my vote. I've moved on. I'm focused every day on being a good husband, on being a good dad, on being a good friend, and working as hard as I can so that my family can do as well as possible, regardless of who the president is. And hope you're doing well, and I hope you get through this. And if you need anything, questions about the housing market, questions about buying or selling a home, and whether or not it's the right time for you, let's have those conversations. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.